Apologies in advance. Recording cut as I was finishing up, but this is how it looks in the end, so enjoy the process. Now, this is a drawing that I did based off a reference of Jim Lee's. And before starting, I just wanted to clear up a bit of my fine lining because I've done it well enough to then see where to ink and just continue from there. One thing that's really cool to notice in Jim Lee's drawings, and I'm sure other artists, is the way he highlights places that he will completely cover in ink or in black. And it's the part there by the left shoulder of Batman, and you see his forearm has detail, but like his shoulder and bicep is almost nothing. And it kind of connects to the Bat logo, or symbol rather. And I think it's really cool. I found it interesting how certain things, details are omitted ahead of time because he knows what he wants to cover, he knows what he wants to show. And there's something to be said about being intentional. And that's what separates a beginner artist from a professional one. And I'm no professional artist by any means, but I'm definitely working towards becoming better. And one of the ways I know that is because when it comes to like things like lighting and things like just like shading, just where you want to put the light, where you want to have the shadows casted, it's fairly new information for me, and I can do it well enough, but I would definitely benefit more from learning more about it, so there's like more creative control, which comes back to the intentionality thing. Like, you go to a drawing and you know, like, this part I'm gonna just cover it up in black, and it's not done randomly or so strange that it disobeys or goes against the laws of lighting and shading, and your drawing looks complete and done in one piece, and so I admire that. And learning from people who are where you want to be is one of the ways that you will improve your skills as an artist. That's why I'm not just happy to share this with you, but want to encourage anyone who wants to advance in their skills. Like, draw the drawings that your favorite artists make and learn from them. It is unavoidable, I feel, especially for an artist. You know, the process is time consuming, and not in a negative way, just it takes time. This is a fast forwarded video of like a drawing done in almost 2 hours, or inking actually, because drawing took more time with my busy-ish life. My husband and father of two, and so I don't get to draw exactly when I want, but I do get to draw every day, so I can't really complain. But that's an aside. The point is that it takes time, and so as it's taking time, you start thinking a lot, you start contemplating a lot. Even when you're in this, you've reached the flow state, your mind doesn't stop thinking and processing. You just have more constructive and better thoughts, I believe, where the thoughts go from, man, I can't do this, what am I doing, I don't have what it takes, to more constructive thoughts like, I look forward to doing ABC, or I wonder why he chose to move his lines like this, or I've noticed that, there's a certain way my favorite artist hatches lines or casts shadows onto their characters. And so drawing from people who already are doing what you want to do gives you that information even if they're not talking to you about it. Now videos, extra videos of what they're doing, that's always helpful. And just for more context with how I'm inking this, I'm using three pens. One is 0.05, though I believe if I had a 0.1 it would have been better because it's way too small. But it came with the pack, and then there's 0.3, and then there's the brush. It's just called B. So that's the one where it can cover more ground. But what I wanted to do with the biggest amount of space was use a pen marker. And that's when I ran into some problems, not because using a pen marker is bad, so alcohol one, but because of the pack that I bought, which I'll go over when it appears in the video. And so now I'm starting to add more detail, just going at it how I feel. Like, there is a degree to creative freedom in how you approach a drawing, which is through exploration, like just figuring out how you're gonna get from point A to B. I think that's more liberating for us who are following our favorite artists and our inspirations. And I say that because you can get into the trap of thinking that the first line they jot down is the first line you have to jot down, and if they start with the head, you have to start with the head, but maybe the torso is better for you, or vice versa. Maybe Jim Lee didn't start with inking the way I did, but it's okay because I am getting to where I need to be either way. And I'm growing in my understanding more. And obviously, as I expose myself to more inkers, like Ryan Benjamin is really good at inking his drawings. I love the way he draws his characters. He's also inspired by Jim Lee. And I might pick up a course of his in time. And when I get the opportunity to do that, then I'll definitely see some tricks because, when you're going off of just like intuition and exploring, you can miss out on just like what are the easier ways to cover more ground. A few things I already know are like the different size of brush pens and how you can cover more ground, and even in the drawing phase, not putting much detail into certain areas that are going to be covered in shadow. So that's already enough, and like I said, the reference drawing gives you that information. What I was seeing from Jim Lee, I believe, it wasn't a sketch, it was an inked drawing, but because I got exposed to even like the sketch, and just the knowledge that they cover or they indicate sometimes in the comics industry, the parts that won't be covered in, or the parts that will be covered in shadow, sometimes with like X's on those areas, or just like a light, light covering or hatching. I don't want to say hatching because it's not like a crisscross thing, but it's definitely covered in a way that you can tell, okay, this is omitted. So those little things make a difference, and now I've been using the 0.05. My problem with it is having to go over certain areas more than once so that, certain areas pop out a bit more. And I know with the 0.1 would have been much better, but look, I mean, the tools you have, if that's what you got in the time being, you just make the most of them. So even though I'm pointing out something that like is problematic, it's not something that I won't deal with until I'm able to upgrade my toolkit. So as you see, there's me covering things up with the pen marker, much quicker. It's got a bigger brush tip, but as you begin to see, it starts to run out, and I already start looking for a different black, which I did not have. Now, it's not very visible in the video, but I promise you it just started to not give the blacks as well as it was initially. And so I had to use my other brush pen to finish up, which I don't like because it's kind of wasting ink. And that was the point of the pen markers, to be big and have so much inside it that it can just cover big ground quickly. But we did not give up and kept going. And like I said, a video cut as I was still finishing up. But I'll show you the end result just now. And once again, there you have it. My final drawing. Final drawing of this Batman pose done in ink. And I hope you found some valuable information about it. And I hope this inspires you to keep trying, regardless of the tools you have and regardless of where you are in your skills. There's always room for improvement. And even the greatest artists are continuing to better themselves. So be encouraged that even those who you look up to are still looking for room to grow, because there is room to grow for everyone. And that's it. Take care.